Hey guys, it's me, EODGamer here. If you are a fan of gacha games, you have been playing a lot of gacha games as well. One of the things that's in your mind is some games feel a lot more expensive than others, but the question really is that this video aims to answer is how expensive is your perhaps favorite gacha game or the one that you're playing now relative to everything else. Now we are going to have a fun one here because we are comparing basically the biggest gacha games in the industry so far. I touch on 4 of them. There are a lot of other smaller ones in the market right now, but I tend to believe that the market leaders tend to dictate how the entire market goes. Now, more important than not, this video is not just laughing at how expensive and how costly it is, but critically, we will be taking away lessons, very importantly, from these different gacha games is which one is the cheapest, and developers actually change their response. I'm looking at you, Genshin, according to how competitors are in the market. And this is very important because moving forward, it might affect future gacha games in terms of monetization strategies and beyond, as well as making us smarter consumers. So without further ado, let's begin. First of all, the four big gacha games that we are covering in this video is going to be Genshin, Honkai Star Rail, Zenless Zone Zero, and Wuthering Waves. Now, 3 Hoyoverse games. These are huge games, but it will show you a huge trend later on. Now, first things first. Currency, at first glance, if you look at just like the shop for USD prices and everything in terms of the biggest packs, the first thing that you'll notice is all of them have a standardized rate. This is of course after you have put your first double PT. If you have that double bonus, all of them are still exactly the same. But we will basically be counting on if you have no money at all, you didn't save like your currency, you just want to pull straight away all your money, what it will cost? 8,080, all of them are the same. And if you look at the dollar per pool, the cost in terms of like the shop, we went down to all of them and just one by one take the values, you will find out that the cost of pool is exactly the same for all of them. This is of course in US dollars, $2 per pool on average, all else being equal. On first glance, you'll be wondering, EOD, you just wasted your time. Why are you making this video telling us all of them are the same price? Now, some of you quicker ones will know, dollar per pool doesn't equate to how much it exactly costs. Now, let's jump into it. So first of all, when you split all of the different banners, and you will notice Genshin has a bit of an adjustment as well, this capturing radiance thing, which we'll touch on a little bit. Even if you don't play any of these games, it's good to know the economy behind how games make their decision making. First thing, the first difference straight away is all of them have different 5-star rates. You can see Hoyoverse generally likes to use the same rate, and these are more difficult to see. In the shop, everything looks the same, but embedded in the banners, you will find if you scroll down in the small fine print, there are how much rate that you're getting, and there's also a consolidated rate. On top of that, you also get this second thing, which is PT. So these are soft PT on the left and hard PT on the right. I do an approximation based on what the community is saying. I don't exactly play all of them on a daily basis nowadays. So we will be mainly using average, so we avoid like the soft PT ramp up and stuff like that. But more important than that, we'll be looking at average cost and the maximum cost as well. So the next thing is also 50-50, coin flip. All of them have different rates. Especially, all of them are the same rates, especially the exception being Genshin Impact here. Train of thought running faster than I can speak here. Genshin Impact actually tweaked their rates. Now, this isn't like they buff the rates or nerf the rates. For some contextual knowledge, they introduced Capturing Radiance, a system that gives you a little bit of an additional chance if you fail your 50-50 to get lucky and get the 5-star. The implied probability is 55%, but you would see that the timing of this is also very impeccable because Wuthering Waves came out, and not long after this Capturing Radiance was Genshin Impact's answer to Wuthering Waves being released into the game, and you will see the economics very, very clearly subsequently as well. Now let me show you first. So worst case scenario, based on the PT mechanic of this, if you lose your 50-50, this is simply worst case multiplied by 2, worst case multiplied by 2, and so on and so forth. You would see here, based on worst case, of course no one goes to hard PT like at 80. According to the like most of us, from what I've talked about in like the past 5 years on our community Discord and stuff like that, no one hits 80 out of 80. Usually you get it like 79 or like, for example, 84, 83 in like some of the other gacha games. Hardly anyone goes to hard PT. But for the sake of math, again in US dollars, this is what you see. Of course, This is just the characters. We have the weapons. In a bit we will cover, but you can see here that the gacha game that is the cheapest is actually Wuthering Waves. Now notice there's no difference for Genshin Impact in terms of the capturing radiance, is because maximum price is not affected by 50-50 rates. It's just how, if you are like super unlucky, what is the maximum you will get, and that's the number that we see over here. Now, we'll talk about maximum first, and then we will go on to average, but I want to show you the contrast. You can see here, characters is actually where these games make their money. Even Wuthering Waves is making it approximately similar price. Some of you will be saying like, oh, EOD, it doesn't factor in like your income rate and stuff. We are just measuring if you rage pool, like you didn't have anything saved up, you like the character a lot, you got shoot, you didn't have information, and you pull with money, how much it will cost. That's my objective. Of course, if you are a saver, and we highly recommend you have decent spending, save, pull for the right characters as we've always done. But this analysis is just if you are a bit impatient, you want the character, you want more of the characters, and every subsequent additional copy of them. Weapons follow a very different rate. Of course, they have different percentages, but more importantly than not, it may look like Zenless Zone 0 is like super friendly because of the rate. This is where the difference in terms of the games actually come very obviously. In my opinion, my blanket statement of weapons here is, on the most part, it is tend to be more of a whaler territory. If you're going for like full clears and stuff like that, you tend to want to pull a weapon. If you're like super free to play, just want to enjoy characters, I usually feel this is not really necessary for the most part if you want to enjoy, unless of course you want to get the most out of your content. Disclaimer aside, all of them have similar hard pities. Maybe the numbers are a little bit here and there. I just based off like what I was reading. I haven't played this game a long time. If you guys want to like add comments, feel free to let me know in the comments below. I can help you find your specific gacha game as well. You can also join our Discord. But very interestingly, all of them follow a 75-25 mechanic. 75% chance of getting it, 25% chance of not, with the exception being Wuthering Waves, which gives you a 100% guarantee. Now, what this basically means is Wuthering Waves is actually stacked up on 80, and of course, the max price would seem very exaggerated here because we are taking this 25% and taking like the maximum of it. This is super inaccurate. So any of you who are like watching this video like and then like clicking off, this is super not representative because this is just the max loss. More important than that, which is the next thing that I want to talk about, basically is looking at 4 different charts over here. So the first chart, now after we've talked about maximum value, very importantly, we need to talk about the average cost. Now over here, we have one chart and another chart over here. This is for characters. Average cost, I put dotted line because I'm not exactly certain of the exact soft PT curve, whether it's 6%, whether it's 6.6% increments. For those of you who are like more math crazy, you will understand what I mean. But for those of you who don't know, basically I'm just estimating the soft PT where it is and the exact math behind it, because I don't have access to all the proprietary numbers. Of course, the developers won't release that. But you can see over here, these are the cumulative probability over here. So once you hit the top, basically you're guaranteed no matter how unlucky you are. And the graph basically, here you see a spike, is because if you lose your 50-50 or win your 50-50, this is the first soft PT for the first 50-50. And then the next one over here, which is like the next 50-50 line at this portion over here, which like slightly goes higher towards the end. And this is where you basically hit like hard PT, lose 50-50, which I hope none of you have to go through. The cost here is Wuthering Waves is cheaper than most of the other games. Now, importantly, Genshin Impact. Now, I want you to notice this box over here. Genshin Impact was actually on the same pricing as Honkai Star Rail and Zenless Zone 0 until they adjusted their capturing radiance formula. Now, why does this matter a lot? Is because capturing radiance brought down the average cost by about $6 without adjusting the rates to seem like it's unethical, right? They did it the official way. They added in a new mechanic to help improve the rates. It's great, but Wuthering Wave coming about actually pushed Genshin to deviate away from the other games that Hoyoverse has. On top of that, I didn't have it in this video, but they also made the weapon PT from like you need 2 failures to guarantee to like just 150-50, 175-25 rather. So it's very clear that games that compete in the same industry definitely force the hand at the businesses that are released. So in future, if we have games, for example, other big turn-based titles, or even like Zenless Zone Zero titles, maybe they will start improving their average cost. We will see how that goes, but that's a trend that we are noticing. On that note, if you are a Honkai Nexus Anima watcher and you plan to watch the channel, which we will cover once it's released, you will notice that the pricing more or less will be quite similar. This is of course if you save zero. The job of the channel here is of course resource management. I'll help you save as much money as you can, but importantly, the characters don't tell you a big picture because, to be really honest, they are all roughly the same. The interesting part here really comes the next part, and that is the weapons. This is where you can see the deviation very clearly. If you look at the left chart over here, cumulative probability again, Wuthering Waves, which is this one over here, this tiny icon here, hits the guarantee much faster because it's 100%. Once you hit about 80 pulls more or less, you are more or less guaranteed. And the rest of them follow a very similar curve that you'll see for more of them. Depending on the rates that you have, the graph just changes slightly, but most Hoyover games follow a similar pattern. If you're super unlucky, of course, then you get everything at this like super tail end over here. But generally, this is where you will see the slight difference here, and you would see the weapons actually have a greater deviation. Like in terms of this price and this price, it's much more significant from the highest. It's like 20% difference, which is pretty significant. So this is where probably they want to capture a bit more revenue, but it costs us a lot less in a sense compared to like characters. So now that we've known all these rates, the thing to take forward is these rates here, even though Wuthering Waves might seem to be the cheapest, some of them are moving towards just a USD model of doing things, which is not very healthy for majority of the player base. Because you cannot have better prices. We cover on EODDB a way that you can do this yourself. If you're interested, you can just search EODDB under Honkai Star Rail. Just come into the official tab over here. It's asking me whether I'm a bot. I'm not a bot. Just come into here, Honkai Star Rail, and you will see in the first section over here, basically the rates we are publishing is the US dollar rates, this line over here. But for Genshin and Hoyover's games generally, you can get a massive discount if you go to Japan, you bring your laptop to Japan, or use certain other methods that we talk about in this section here. You can read it. Theory is for your own information. You don't need no third parties. You can do it yourself. And you will find that with this discount, for example, you can pull down your discount to be like significantly less than otherwise you would have. But I hope you found this video helpful and insightful. If you did, leave me a like, comment, and subscribe for more such future content. And see you guys in the next one.